All right, I'm here with Ollie. He's presenting the award-winning indie game Framed. Ollie, what can you tell us about Framed?
Framed is basically a panel-shifting comic book puzzle game where you rearrange the order of comic panels on a page to solve puzzles and progress the story.
Sounds pretty simple. And as far as the studio, Loveshack, what can you tell us about the studio? I guess in terms of how you guys got here and how you guys conceived Framed.
So Loveshack is 3 people, and we all met when we were working at a studio called Firemint that then became part of EA. So we worked together there on a couple of different projects, and then decided to form Loveshack together, and this is our first project. And the actual concept came from our programmer Josh, programmer and one of the designers. We all designed it together, where he was reading a book called Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud, which talks a lot about just the language of comic books and how they're constructed and how they work. And he figured that some of those kind of concepts, what happens between the gutters of panels, all these kinds of things, context, could be really good game mechanics. So yeah, he sort of planted the seed of an idea and we all massaged it into shape.
That sounds awesome. And as far as your own kind of background into gaming, I mean, how did you get into gaming as well as how did you get into games development as well?
Well, I've been playing games ever since I was a kid. I think I started with Nintendo Entertainment System, but the Apple IIe before that on some of my friends' Apple IIes a long time ago. And then so I've always really been playing games, but I've also been a musician. But while I was a musician, I was doing a lot of QA for different games, different companies. And that kind of led into my first interview as a game designer. And so on Framed, I'm actually doing design with the other 2 and the art as well. So kind of a strange way into the industry.
As far as the Australian games industry is concerned, I mean, obviously as a developer working in the industry, I guess what are your thoughts on it, as well as specifically on the indie development side of it?
Well, look, I think it's fantastic that it's, there's so many tools available with low barriers of entry, so that there can be so many small studios and small projects, happening all the time, and it's wonderful to see. It means that a lot more kind of interesting ideas, riskier ideas can be tried, and it's fantastic, and it's really good to see that's happening in Australia just as it is everywhere else, so it's really cool.
And I've noticed a lot of the games today, including yourselves, they're quite unique, quite creative. In concept, do you think that's something that's a part of, I guess, the Australian kind of side of it, or is that just a kind of, I guess, a cultural shift within gaming, within everyone else?
Well, I think Australians by default are pretty inquisitive people, so I think it kind of folds into that for Australian developers are, always trying to push the boundaries a little bit, but I think that's just part of a larger global cultural thing. I think there's just a shift towards slightly more interesting ideas and stuff, and yeah, as the technology evolves, I guess so does the ease of making games, even though it's hard. But yeah, so yeah, people can try more interesting things, I guess.
Yeah, you guys, I guess have more liberty to kind of, have free reign to experiment and have fun with it, as opposed to the big AAA developers who have a lot of money put into it, but they really can't take too many tricks, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I suppose they have to be a bit more worried about taking risks because there's a lot more investment. Whereas for a small studio, a lot more mobile, and really it comes down to yourself. And yeah, it's just a different budget scale, I guess, that means it's less responsibility, so you can try a few things out, and if that doesn't work, then try something else. Hopefully one thing will work though, so you can keep the studio going.
Thank you for your time. I hope everything goes well with Framed. You guys are releasing Framed when?
We're not exactly sure yet, we're working that out at the moment, but it'll be very soon.